Good afternoon, grade 9. Welcome back from our school, Al-Husam International School. And today, let's start a new session. Chapter 10, the basic units of life. Section 1, the diversity of cells. You can use your green interactive book page 193. At the end of this session, you will be able to, number 1, identify the meaning of cell. Number 2, recognize the scientists who discovered the cell. 3, state the parts of cell theory. Number 4, describe the parts of a cell. And now, these materials, we said before, the materials we needed. And now let's start with section 2 review, which was homework, page 192. List name 4 things that organisms need to survive. If you know the answer, just raise your hand. Yes. I'm waiting. Yes, guys. Muhammad Ahmed. So, Muhammad.
Okay.
Yes.
They need water, air, space, and energy.
Yes, need water, air, space, and energy. Yes, great job. So, thank you so much. Okay, and now let's continue. Number 2, explain why our decomposers are also consumers. Why our decomposers are also consumers. Yes, Tamer. Tamer. Okay, Yusuf. Yusuf, yes, I'm hearing you, yeah.
Because they don't make their own food and they eat other organisms.
They feed on or decay dead organisms. Thank you so much. So the answer is because they feed on another organisms and decay dead animals. Number 3, identify what two nutrients store energy. What two nutrients store energy? Yes? If you know the answer, just raise your hand. Mazen?
Yes.
Yes.
Identify what two nutrients.
Yes, two nutrients, two molecules store energy. Mazen? I think I missed you. Mazen?
Yes.
Yes, two nutrients?
The carbohydrates.
Yes, carbohydrates and another molecule break down and give us energy. If we haven't enough carbohydrates inside our body, so another molecule will be broken down to give energy, which is this molecule. You know?
The connection is كويس.
Okay, and now
I can't hear you.
You can hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, two nutrients, carbohydrates and?
No, A and A. I can't remember.
Okay, and lipids. Thank you, Mazen. So the two molecules are carbohydrates and lipids. You can correct your homework, carbohydrates and lipids. Number 4, describe the structure of cell membrane. Describe the structure of cell membrane. Who knows? Structure of cell membrane consists of molecules called, yes, Yusuf Shamli. Yusuf Shamli? Yusuf. Yusuf, yes.
Yes.
Yes, cell membrane
Yes.
composed of molecules, which are
They are made of special lipids called
yes, phospholipids. Okay, thank you so much. So they compose of bilayers of phospholipids. Okay, number 5. Name 2 ways that simple carbohydrates differ from complex carbohydrates. How simple carbohydrates differ from complex carbohydrates? As you know that simple carbohydrates made of one or few sugar, okay, like glucose, galactose, fructose, composed of few sugar or one ring of sugar, okay? And also they are broken down fast, more quickly or faster than complex carbohydrates. So the body breaks down simple carbohydrates more quickly than complex carbohydrates. Okay. Okay, last one. Why ATP important in 2 cells? Why is ATP important, which is abbreviation for adenosine triphosphate? Why it's important to cells? Because energy released from carbohydrates and fats is passed to ATP molecules, and ATP then carries the energy to where it's needed in the cell. So energy released from molecules stored at the form of ATP, and then ATP go to the specific place inside the cell which needs energy. And now you can open page 193 in your interactive green book. Okay, and what's a cell? What is a cell? From this picture, you can see that the cell is the smallest unit in our body, okay, or in an organism, and can do the functions which are necessary for life. As we said, we have unicellular organism and multicellular organism. Unicellular, which consists of one cell, multicellular, which consists of more than one cell, okay? Most cells are small, so that they cannot be seen by our naked eye. So we use a special device to see the cell. So we can see the cell by using, yes, microscope. And now, to know more about scientists which find cells, let's watch this video.
Huge step forward in microbiology was the invention of the microscope. So the discovery of cells and the development of cell theory due to the invention of high-powered microscopes in the 17th century. The first microscopes were very simple and had very limited magnifying power. There is some debate surrounding who invented the first microscope, but there is evidence of early microscopes being invented even as early as the 1st century, but they probably were not very useful when it came to observing cells. Zacharias Janssen and the first compound microscope. Zacharias and Hans Janssen were able to combine magnifying lenses together that resulted in an image that was 9 times larger than what could be seen with the naked eye. So with the discovery and invention of the compound microscope, we were able to finally start to look at the microscopic world around us. English scientist Robert Hooke discovered cells while looking at a thin slice of cork.
So here, the first scientist who used his microscope, his name is Robert Hooke, okay? And Robert Hooke used his own microscope and used the cork cells, which means the dead cells of park plants, okay? And it seems under the microscope like small rooms. So it's called cells. Cells is a Latin name, means small rooms, as you can see here in this picture. small rooms together, besides each other.
And if you don't know what cork is actually dead plant cells. So he described the cells as cells, use the term cells, because they resembled tiny boxes and looked somewhat like the tiny boxes of a honeycomb. So here we actually see an illustration from his 1665, from Robert Hooke's 1665 book, Micrographia. And this is actually an illustration of the sample of cork that he observed as the first cells observed under a microscope.
So, okay, and now? Okay, so the first scientist who observed plant cell was Robert Hooke. His picture, and he used his microscope to see cells. And one day he looked at a piece of cork. Cork means dead cells, which found in bark of cork trees. And he found that these cells made of little boxes, and he named these boxes cells, which means little rooms in Latin. And after Robert Hooke, Anton van Leeuwenhoek, he came after him and used his specific or special microscope, advanced one, okay? This picture of his microscope, and he started to see more organisms, just as, such as tiny pond organisms called protists. And protists found in ponds, okay, like this picture, okay? And also he looked at blood cells, yeast, and bacteria. So it's important to know that Anton van Leeuwenhoek, he looked at blood cells, yeast, bacteria, and protists. And now quick check. Number 1, what is the basic unit of all living things? If you know the answer, raise your hand. Yes. What is the basic unit? Okay, Mazen. Muhammad Ahmed too. Yes. Mazen. Yes, Mazen.
Yes.
Okay.
Cell. It's
So we'll cell. So thank you. Well done. Cell is the basic unit for anything or any living thing. Okay. And now, what is the cell theory? And cell theory has 3 parts, okay? Number 1, it said that all organisms are made of 1 or more cells. All organisms are made of 1, which is called unicellular, or more cells, which is called multicellular. Number 2, cells is the basic unit, as we said, of any living thing. Number 3, all cells come from existing cells. Existing means parent cells, okay? So the old cell can, before its death, okay, can make 2 cells too, which is which is called mitosis, as we talked before, okay, to make 2 new cells. So any cell come from existing cells. Again, so the cell theory, we have 3 parts in cell theory. Number 1, all organisms made of 1 or more cells. Number 2, the cell is the basic unit of all living things. Number 3, all cells come from existing cells. Okay, and now quick check. Okay, page 194 in your green interactive book. You can see the picture and answer. We have 4 pictures for eugenia, blood, yeast, and bacteria. And the question is, which of these cells is probably the smallest cell? And explain your answer. Okay, raise your hand. Where are you, Basil? Faris. Which one is the smallest cell? Glina, bacteria, yeast, blood, and why? I'm waiting. Okay. Mazen again. Mazen,
Yes.
where is the rest of class?
Oh, طب how can I know? How can I know that?
From the picture, you can see the size from the picture. Okay, so from the picture, it will be
Yes.
bacteria, because bacteria consists of just one cell and it's the smallest one, okay? Okay, please write it. Write the bacteria, the smallest cell, okay? Okay. If you have any problem, please text me. So, what are the parts of a cell? Any cell must has specific parts, which are three. Okay, three parts common in all cells. Number one, cell membrane, like this picture, the outer membrane is called cell membrane. Number two, genetic material, as we said before, the genetic material, like DNA molecule, and it's found inside the nucleus. Number three, organelles. All these organelles, or all these parts called organelles, and each organelle has a specific function. So, again, what three parts do all cells have in common? What are the three parts do all cells have in common? Raise your hand. Faris? Jury? Jury? Hi, Jury. Yes, you can say three parts common in all cells, from outside to inside. Yes, Jury. Jury?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello. أيوه.
Okay. First one.
Cell membrane.
Cell membrane, yes. Number two.
Genetic material. Organ.
Organelles. Great job.
Yes.
Thank you, Jury. Okay, so cell membrane, genetic material, and organelles. Let's start with cell membrane. As we said last session, that cell membrane, it's not just a line we draw it. No, it consists of bilayers from specific lipids called phospholipids, okay? And all cells are surrounded by cell membrane, and cell membrane that covers and protects the cell. So the function of cell membrane, number one, covers and protects the cell from the environment. Number two, separates the cell from its surrounding. So if we have fluid like blood, water, anything outside the cell, this membrane covers the cell and separates the cell from its surrounding. Number three, cell membrane also controls all material going in and out of the cell. So if you have sugar particles or minerals, so it controls which particles will move inside and outside from the cell, like endocytosis and exocytosis, if you remember. Okay, number two, genetic material. As we said, that genetic material, one form of genetic material, which is DNA. And DNA found inside the nucleus of the cell, and which form proteins, and these proteins then work and doing some functions inside the cell. So all cells contain DNA, which abbreviation for deoxyribo, and nucleic acid, deoxyribonucleic acid, which is the genetic material that carries information or instructions needed to make some functions like proteins, new cells, new organisms, and control all activities. And the DNA in some cells is found inside structure called nucleus. So, number 3, organelles. Organelles, as we saw in the picture, we have different organelles and each one has a specific function. And most organelles have a membrane covering them. Most organelles have a membrane covering them. And we'll study it in details next sessions, inshallah. So different types of cells can have different organelles. And to sum up our session for today, it was section 1, diversity of cells. We took the first part and we learned what the meaning of cell, who scientists discovered the cell, and state the parts of the cell theory, and also describe the parts of a cell. And our homework, okay, will be a PowerPoint presentation on section 3, and please prepare the upcoming session as a flipped classroom. Okay, and now thanks for watching, and if you have any question, we'll open, you can raise your hand, you have time. Yes, Jury. If you have any question, please write it. Jury, okay. Okay, so no questions. Okay, thank you guys, and thanks for watching, and see you next session, inshallah. Bye.